County's Planning Commission and Board of Adjustment meeting. It's 3 o'clock on July 16th, 2026. Please rise for the pledge. If you haven't already done so, if you'd please silence your cell phones. And if you are online joining us, please make sure that you have muted your microphone until you are ready to speak. Please note that this public hearing is being recorded. The first item on the agenda is roll call. Rock Ulanami.
Here.
John Auger.
Here.
Sue Maskey.
Here.
Andy Larson. Here. And I am Rebecca Best. The next item is to approve the agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda? If not, I would ask for a motion to approve the agenda.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda as is.
There's a motion to approve. Is there a second? And there is a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The agenda is approved. The next item is to approve the minutes and findings of fact for the meeting held on June 18th, 2026.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes and findings of fact.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The minutes are approved. Today we have 2 items of old business and 12 items of new business, so we greatly appreciate your patience. Our procedure is when we call your application, you will be admitted to the meeting if you are online, or if you are in person, please come to the table in the front, have a seat, and state your name and address for the record. We then will have Nicolette from our staff read your request into the record. We then give the applicant an opportunity to add any new information that has not been previously submitted. After that, we will open the request up for public testimony. And today we have 2 public testimony opportunities. One is in person and the other one is online. If you are online and wish to speak to an application, please use your hand icon on your computer to indicate to us that you wish to speak. Then once you are admitted, please unmute your microphone and state your name and address for the record. If you are speaking in person, please come to the microphone at the podium in the center aisle. In either case, you will then be given 5 minutes to give your testimony, and we do time the testimony periods. Please do not repeat what someone else has said, and please do not read your emails or letters that have already been sent. Everyone who wishes to give testimony will have an opportunity to do so, but once we close public testimony, we will not reopen it. We will then bring it back to the applicant to address the items brought forth from the public. Our rules of conduct are please be respectful. For the applicant, this means to sit quietly during the public testimony period, and for the audience, it means to do the same for the applicant as they respond to your testimony. All questions and statements are to be directed to this board or members of the staff and not to the applicant. Anyone that I feel is being disrespectful or not following these rules will be asked to leave or will be disconnected from the meeting online. Our decision process. For a preliminary plat or a land use map amendment request, we make a recommendation to the county board. For a variance, conditional, or interim use permit request, we make the final decision. We make our decisions based on our findings of fact. To help us do that, we do several things. We do on-site visits where we physically go to the property and examine the site and look at what's being planned. Prior to attending this meeting, we each read every letter and email that is submitted, and we then hear public testimony and we listen to the applicant. I would like to pause just for a moment and thank the public and let them know that we greatly appreciate your correspondence and input, and we have all read the submitted comments. In addition to that, we have a worksheet that we use to help summarize the findings of fact, and preliminary findings have been included in the staff packet. Next, I will ask each board member if they have reviewed the preliminary findings of fact that were provided in the packet. Sue?
I have.
Rock?
I have.
Andy?
I have.
John?
I have.
And I have as well. Now we will go to our first applicant of this afternoon, and that would be Joan Brand for a variance request.
Hello, this is Dan Carlson. I'm representing Joan Brand.
And can you state your address for the record as well, please?
Address is 4448 Cosette Lane North, Hugo, Minnesota, 55038.
Thank you very much. Nicolette, can you read the request into the record, please?
Yes, Madam Chair, the property owner is Joan Brand, authorized agent Dan Carlson. Parcel number is 501-10621. The address of the property is 16243 Brighton Point Road in Deerwood, Minnesota, and this is in Bay Lake Township. The applicant is requesting approval to construct a new 1,065 square foot dwelling and to allow a holding tank for the septic system. To allow this project, the applicant is requesting a variance for a north property line setback of 9 feet where 10 feet is required, a south property line setback of 8 feet where 10 feet is required, a lake setback of 46 feet to the dwelling where 100 feet is required, and to allow a type 2 septic system, a holding tank, where a type 1 septic is required. This property is located on Bay Lake, a recreational development lake with a 100-foot setback. This is off of Brighton Point Road, just east of County Road 10. This property is within the Shoreland District and is surrounded by shoreland uses. This application was discussed at the June 18th public hearing, at which time the board decided to table the application to obtain additional information regarding the septic system. I'll discuss more on that in just a moment. The existing home is 32 feet from Bay Lake. The proposal at the June 18th meeting was a new dwelling with a lake setback right at 32 feet, the north property line setback of 7 feet, and a south property line setback of 9 feet. The proposal has since changed, pushing the house back to 46 feet from Bay Lake instead of the 32, and instead of 7 feet from the north property line, let me zoom in here. Instead of 7 feet from the north property line, they are now proposing 9, and 8 feet on the south as well. On page 22 of your packet, there's an email from Tom Atkinson, who is a licensed septic professional who designed and installed the holding tank. In Tom's email, he stated that a type 1 septic system cannot be installed on this property due to a shallow well setback of 100 feet for the drain field. Just as a reminder from last month, this area right here, the 33 feet in width, is a road right-of-way for a public landing that was part of the plat. The parcel was platted in 1924, and it is narrower and shallower than our ordinance would require for lots today. Noting some on-site comments from the board, the shoreline is rip-wrapped. Additional vegetation plantings would be beneficial. The increased side yard encroachment remains a concern, and the site has significant stormwater issue. A comment was received from the township on June 18th recommending disapproval. They advised that the house be shifted to align with the setback of the home to the southeast, which is approximately 15 feet. An updated comment from the township was received on July 15th, recommending disapproval again. As they stated on the 18th, they advised that the house be shifted to align with the neighbors. I called and spoke with Don as the survey was updated, and he's the township supervisor for Bay Lake. I spoke with him this morning, and I sent him the updated survey, and he felt better about the setback being at 14 feet, being a line, but he did want me to mention that a new deep well could be constructed with the new home to accommodate for a potential drain field for a type 1 system. No comments were received from other agencies or the public, and if the board does approve this application tonight, staff would like to recommend the 4 following conditions. A land use permit be approved by Land Services prior to construction. An erosion and sediment control plan be submitted at the time of permitting. A stormwater plan submitted at the time of permitting, meeting all of Article 41 standards. And once construction is complete, a final as-built survey be submitted. I can answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Nicolette. Does anyone have questions for Nicolette at this time?
This time.
And Dan, do you have anything that you would like to add? You'll need
I
to-
do not.
You do not? Okay. Then at this point, we will open up the application to public testimony. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to address this application? Anyone? Anyone? Seeing no one, I'll check online. I don't believe there's anyone there either. So we would bring it back to the board for further discussion and action.
Madam Chair, I guess one of my concerns is with a holding tank, and this maybe, Chris, you can help me with this one. What would prevent, and that's just, maybe it'll never happen, but if that septic tank is full and overflows from, how can we, or is there a way we can prevent any like runoff from that septic tank going into that landing, that drainage ditch which goes right into Bay Lake? I don't know, I mean, I'm not sure if it would ever happen, but it could.
Madam Chair, the holding tank is a fairly common occurrence on lots like this. I mean, this is a small lot that's 6,500 square feet. So there's not a lot of room on this lot. They do have, alarms on them so that you're aware of when it gets to the point of where you have, it's not like the alarm is full and it's going to overflow. I mean, it gives you, there's a little bit of margin there so you have some time to contact a maintainer to come get it pumped out. But there's also a requirement if you have a holding tank, you have to have a contract with a maintainer and so we know that you're going to have that consistently pumped out and on a need-be basis. So with the controls that we have in place and the size of that lot and location of that well, I'm comfortable with the holding tank in that location. So
I'm just wondering, could we place a condition that there'd be a berm along here? So if this ever, along here somehow, so if that ever, because I'm just, if they're on vacation, and let's just say something happened and the water continues to run in the house, nobody's there to monitor an alarm. I'm just looking at.
typically that's going to go backwards. So once that tank gets full, they're sealed pretty tight. I mean, there's not going to be, it's actually going to go back up. It'll back up into the house, and that's where they'll find a wet basement versus having it in the yard because of the situation.
It was just a concern that I had because the last thing I want to do is approve something, then all of a sudden an overflow runs into the lake.
It's not ideal, but I think this is the best solution for this parcel.
That answered that question for me. Thank you.
Any other discussion?
Madam Chair, can we bring up the conditions, please?
Yes.
Potential conditions are on page 39 of your packet, Madam Chair.
So, Madam Chair and the board, I noted in the DRT meeting discussion about impervious greater than 20% and perhaps requiring a no-mow buffer. And our on-site also noted a significant stormwater issue. So I would like to propose adding condition 5 to require a 10-foot no-maintenance shoreline buffer must be established on 70% of the shoreline. The no-maintenance buffer must be established within 1 year of variance approval, unless there's objection from a board member.
Everyone okay with that? It seems very reasonable and prudent.
I agree.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Could we put the findings up, please?
Findings of fact are on page, let's see here,
37, Madam Chair.
37.
I have a couple additions that I would like to add. It's actually an addition to an existing finding on question 4. The very last finding is, the combination of narrow lot width, limited buildable area, and existing development pattern. I'd like to have added, and the location of an existing shallow well prohibits the ability to install a type 1 septic system. Add that to condition 4 on finding 3 and condition 6 on finding 2.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, if it's okay, I think we would update the township recommendation to a number after, at the bottom to say that we'll just make a note that we made a phone call and talked to Don this morning and that they're okay with the setback, but weren't in favor of the
Yes.
holding tank. We'll make that update too. Okay, we can do that.
To include that would be important, I think, too.
You know, Madam Chair?
Yes.
To Chris's point, however, we have a recommendation on July 14th from the town board that's signed by the supervisors. And
That's a good point.
singular supervisor can't supersede the
Right.
board's recommendation. So I think we could note that Don said that, but
Right.
the board recommendation.
We'll keep that
remains the
word,
same.
we'll
Is
keep that. That makes sense. Absolutely. Yep.
Thanks, John. Any further discussion? Not, we can entertain action on this application request.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I would move approval of the variance requests for the north property line setback of 9 feet where 10 is required, the south property line setback of 8 feet where 10 is required, the lake setback of 46 feet where 100 feet is required, and a type 2 septic system holding tank where a type 1 is required for the purpose of constructing a 1,065 square foot dwelling with a holding tank, subject to the 5 conditions as we amended this evening, and based on the survey and the staff report that's been submitted.
I'll second that.
We have a motion on the floor.
And I should add, and the revision to the findings of fact. I forgot that.
Say that.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor and a second. Further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of this motion, before we do vote, I would need to, Dan, just double check with you to make sure that, do you understand what is being approved tonight?
I do, thank you.
Okay, and do you understand the conditions that we have discussed that are required as part of this approval?
Yes, I do.
And do you understand that you must obtain permits now from Land Services Department before construction begins?
Yes,
And do you understand that what is being approved tonight is final? Any future changes to what is being approved tonight, such as structure size or height or location, must be approved by this board? This means that you would be required to submit a new application, pay the appropriate fees, and provide an updated survey and any other required information with the new request. Staff cannot modify or change what's been approved by this board.
yes, I do.
Okay, we will then proceed with the vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Yep, thank you.
Our next applicant would be Stephen Sally Schmitz with a variance request application. Good afternoon.
Hi there. Good afternoon.
And if you'd state your name and address for the record, please.
I am Stephen Schmitz
Sally Schmitz.
at 14269 Mahan Lane in Deerwood.
Thank you very much. Nicolette, can you read the request into the record, please?
Yes, Madam Chair, tonight we have property owner Stephen Sally Schmitz, parcel number 502-00637. The address is 14269 Mahan Lane in Deerwood, and this is in Bay Lake Township. The request is, the applicants propose a complete tear down and reconstruction of an existing non-conforming dwelling on Bay Lake. New construction includes a 1,956 square foot, Hanks Lake.
Right.
Hanks Lake. The construction includes a 1,956 square foot dwelling and a 443 square foot deck. To allow this, the applicant is requesting a variance for a 68-foot setback from Hanks Lake, where 100 feet is required, for the proposed dwelling, and a lake setback of 67 feet to Hanks Lake for the proposed deck. And I do want to point out that this is a correction to what is listed within your staff report. Within the staff report, it lists a 67-foot setback for the house and dwelling. The dwelling is at 68. The deck is proposed to be at 67. This property, like I said, is located on Hanks Lake, a recreational development lake with a 100-foot setback. Megan Lane is off of Megan Road, which is north of County Road 18, down here. And then you have State Highway 6, that is off here to the west, or sorry, the east. This property is within the Shoreland District and is surrounded by shoreline and residential uses. This application was discussed at the June 18th public hearing, at which time the board decided to table the application and allow the applicant to reevaluate shifting the home further landward. On page 47 of your packet is the certificate of survey. The first proposal at the June 18th public hearing, the applicants proposed a 57-foot setback from Hanks Lake. And since that meeting, the applicants have gone back to the drawing board and are now proposing a lake setback of 68 feet to the proposed new dwelling. And this pink right here is the dwelling. This is the 68 feet here. The green is the proposed deck area, a cumulative 443 square feet with that lake setback of 67. Scroll down here. The existing home is currently at 49 feet from Hanks Lake. Noting some on-site comments from the board, the property has a large building envelope. Home could be built further from the lake. Neighboring homes are set further back from the proposed location. The shoreline is stable with healthy vegetation and existing ice ridge. A comment was received from the township on June 18th recommending disapproval. They noted that the proposal involves a scrape and rebuild on a property with a substantial building envelope, and they would prefer to see a new home constructed within that building envelope. The township submitted another comment after seeing the revised survey on July 15th, recommending approval of the application as well as suggesting a condition that the existing detached garage is to never be removed. No comments were received from other agencies or the public. The applicants did submit a comment to the board on their behalf. In summary, the comment states that the applicants have returned with a revised proposal after considering the board's earlier feedback. Since their existing cabin must be replaced due to severe water damage and mold, they are seeking a variance to build a new home further from the lake than the current structure. However, if they are unable to meet the full 100-foot setback due to the location of the existing detached garage. After reevaluating the property, adjusting the design, and researching neighboring setbacks and similar approved variances, they now propose placing the new cabin at 68 feet from the lake, about 20 feet further back than the existing home, and consistent with the character of the surrounding properties. They believe this revised plan best balances a reduced variance, site limitations, and preservation of mature trees. They respectfully request approval of the variance request. If the board does approve this application tonight, staff would like to recommend the 4 following conditions. A land use permit be approved by Land Services prior to construction. An erosion and sediment control plan submitted at the time of permitting. A stormwater plan submitted at the time of permitting, meeting all of Article 41 standards. And once construction is complete, a final as-built survey. I can answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Nicolette. Any questions for staff? Do you have anything that you'd like to add at this time?
No, other than thanks for giving us the opportunity to come back, and hopefully you see that we worked hard to accommodate what we're all trying to accomplish.
Thank you. Thank you. Then we will open up this request for public testimony. Is there anyone in the courtroom who would like to address this application? Anyone? Anyone? Seeing no one, I'll turn to online, and I don't believe there's anyone there either. So we will bring it back to the board for further discussion and potential action on this request.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I would just have a comment, and I would want to amend the findings in 3 areas, if we could.
Go ahead.
So the first comment I'd have is I appreciate that you were listening last month and revised the proposal. It's further back from the lake, it's a smaller footprint, and I want to compliment you on your July 9th email. We get a lot of input. It was very well done, very focused on the facts of the situation, which are most helpful to us because in the end, we have to base it on findings of fact. So I want to commend you for that and thank you. If we could bring up the findings.
On page 62.
The first change is to finding number 3, the second finding. I would like to amend that to read, the owner's revised plan relocates the dwelling further from the lake compared to the previous placement, utilizing the building envelope with the limitation of the existing garage, improving compliance while maintaining reasonable use. On finding number 5, trying to find this here. Hang on a second. I thought it had the finding change from the last issue because it had the wrong square footage.
Madam Chair, I believe John is referring to the second bullet on finding number 5, where it states 2,754 square feet, which was the first original proposal, I think, with the attached garage, since has reduced.
So we need to reflect the right square footage.
We will do so.
And I think also in finding 3, we need to reflect that the impervious actually increased slightly. So my proposal is that now read the project has a minimal increase to the impervious surface to reflect that. And then the final is that we have township recommendation of approval on 714. And that's all, Madam Chair.
Thank you for those changes. Any other discussion? Not, we can entertain action on this item.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the variance for lake setback of 67 feet where 100 feet is required to proposed dwelling and deck to construct a 1,956 square foot dwelling and a 443 square foot deck based on the revised findings in the staff report and the 5 conditions in the staff report, along with the certificate of survey submitted and the on-site conducted.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, before we take final action on your variance, I need to verify 4 items with you. You do understand what is being approved tonight?
Yes,
And do you understand the conditions that are required as part of this approval?
yes,
And do you understand that you must obtain permits now from the Land Services Department before construction begins?
yes,
And do you understand that what is being approved tonight is final? Any future changes to what is being approved tonight, such as structure size, height, or location, must be approved by this board. And this means that you would be required to submit a new application, pay the appropriate fees, and provide an updated survey and any other required information with that request. And staff cannot modify or change what has been approved by this board.
yes.
Okay, with that, then we will proceed to vote. All those in favor of this motion, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
We'll move into new business then, and our first item of new business, and we actually have 3 that are kind of go together. It would be Adney Exchange Holding Company, LLC, Tony Becker, for a variance, conditional use permit, and preliminary plat. Good evening or afternoon.
Good afternoon. Pat Trotter with Stonemark Land Surveying in Pequot Lakes. I believe Tony Becker is online.
Tony, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Great, we can hear you too then. Thank you very much. Can you state your name and address for the record as well, please?
Absolutely. Tony Becker, address is 18835 Marie Lane, Crosby, Minnesota, 56441.
Thank you. Nicolette, can you read the request into the record, please?
Yes, Madam Chair, property owner is Adney Exchange Holding Company LLC. Parcel number, we have authorized agent Pat Trottier. Parcel number 603-20512. Address is 18835 Mary Lane in Crosby, and this is in Fairfield Township. At last month's public hearing before the board was a preliminary plat of Adney Lake Conservancy for 2 lots. The preliminary plat was a conventional development which needed to meet lot width, area, and buildable area. Lot width, total area, and buildable area. That plat met all of the ordinance requirements, and the board recommended approval of the preliminary plat at that time. The county board approved the preliminary plat on July 14th. Lot 2 of that plat is now before you today with 4 requests. This evening, the applicant is proposing a conservation development. Conservation developments differ from conventional developments in that they allow flexibility in lot size and placement to concentrate development, protect natural features, and preserve shared open space. Rather than distributing lots uniformly across the property, conservation developments cluster structures in suitable areas while maintaining larger areas of undisturbed land. Because conservation developments require additional review, a conditional use permit is required. The standards for a conservation development conditional use permit include demonstrating that the proposed layout meets the design criteria outlined in Article 33. One of those criteria is the requirement for a 50-foot wide access corridor to each lot. There is an existing 20-foot wide corridor on the property, which the applicant is proposing to maintain in its current configuration. To do so, the applicant is requesting a variance to allow a 20-foot wide corridor where a 50-foot wide corridor is required under Article 33.9. A portion of that existing corridor lies within the shore impact zone and was previously approved for placement and fill by the board in 1976. The applicant is proposing to keep this corridor unchanged. As a result, the applicant is also requesting a variance to allow a driveway within the shore impact zone where driveways are not permitted under Article 11.21. Lastly, the applicant is requesting approval of the preliminary plat for Adney Lake Conservancy First Edition, which includes 4 lots and 1 outlot. This property is located on the north side of Adney Lake, a general development lake, west of State Highway 6 and east of the City of Cross Lake city boundary. This property is within the Shoreland District and is surrounded by shoreland and residential uses. The certificate of survey is on page 73 of your packet. And I want to point out that this is Marie Lane. The 20-foot wide corridor that currently exists is off of Mary Lane and goes to Lot 1 here, Lot 2, Lot 3, and Lot 4. The corridor exists and continues down to the lake. Excuse me. This is the portion within the shore impact zone from 75 feet down to the beach and over, and it wraps around this wetland where it stops. This is the portion of the corridor that was approved in 1976 to be filled and placed. It is still in its existing condition, and this is the area that they are wanting to remain intact. For conservation developments, the setback for structures to a lake or river is increased. Adney Lake is a general development lake, and for a conventional development, the setback is 75 feet. However, for a conservation development, the lake setback is 120 feet. If you look on Lot 3, there is a building site. This was designated to be part of Adney Lake, so there is a 120-foot setback to this building site. Each of the proposed lots have septic site suitabilities. There will be one centralized recreation area at the lake with one dock that will have 5 total slips, all to be located within the existing beach area. If this were a conventional development, where lot area, width, and buildable area standards applied, this proposal could be for approximately 10 riparian lots. Every lot would have a dock, so 10 docks, which would potentially include access across the wetlands to access the lake. I would like to note that for a conservation development, this property could have up to 17 lots. The applicant did have a 5th lot proposed on the peninsula, which would be right down here. And after working with staff, the applicant chose to remove Lot 5 and only go with the 4 proposed lots. Conservation developments consolidate recreation areas at the lake. They consolidate docking, protect open space, and protect the lake's natural features. I also want to clarify, if I haven't done so already, that the 20-foot corridor is existing. It is not a new road proposed to be constructed, as the corridor through the impact zone is also existing and not proposed as a new road. No comments were received from the township. No comments were received from other agencies, and 11 comments were received from the public in opposition. Their concerns were about allowing an access corridor and driveway within the shore impact zone and the detrimental effects a roadway may have on the lake. They cited potential impacts to a known loon and bald eagle nesting area. They noted conflict with the intent of the shoreline ordinance, lack of demonstrated practical difficulty, and the potential long-term changes of the natural character of Adney Lake. There was a recommendation that an EAW be completed. The comments also note that the property is being marketed as a future vacation rental, raising questions about consistency with the ordinance findings, and argues that the conservation development proposal is unnecessary, given the long-standing natural condition of the land. The commenters respectfully request that the board deny both variance requests to protect the lake and uphold county standards. I do want to clarify that short-term rentals are not viewed as a commercial use under the ordinance, and furthermore, the county does have a short-term rental ordinance to regulate such uses. If the board does approve of these applications tonight, staff would like to recommend no conditions for the variance request and the following 9 conditions for the conditional use request. The first is stating that the conditional use permit is for the conservation design development of Adney Lake with 5 total lots, 4 residential lots, 1 common outlot. The applicant gives Land Services Department the permission to enter said property to perform inspections. 3, the land use permit must be obtained from Land Services prior to construction. 4, the conditional use permit is null and void if the Planning Commission or Board of Adjustment denies the variance request for the 20-foot wide access corridor. 5, a plat must be approved by the County Board of Commissioners. 6, the development is approved for 4 permanent mooring spaces and is to be consolidated to a common dock as shown on the certificate of survey. 7, uncontrolled beaching of watercraft is prohibited as part of open space preservation. 8, the long-term management plan has been effectively implemented. And 9, the owners association shall be legally established through covenants and declarations and shall be recorded at the time of plat recording. For the preliminary plat, the following 5 conditions are recommended. 1, the final plat submitted within 12 months. 2, all required subdivision improvements, Article 9.8, are implemented. 3, if a soils disturbance greater than 1 acre, an MPCA approved SWIP is required prior to any construction. 4, a final documentation of all plat monuments. And 5, the title commitment must be provided prior to final plat. Madam Chair, I recommend conducting a single public hearing covering all 4 requests, followed by separate motions on each. Three requests. Three requests.
Three requests.
Three
Thank you.
requests. We have 2 variances. I can take any questions.
Okay. Any questions for Nicolette?
Madam Chair, if I may ask one quick question. The 20-foot access corridor exists. What's the implication if we were to deny that variance?
Madam Chair, John, if we could just zoom out or just scroll on just a little bit. So the corridor that we're really talking about, when we talk about that 20-foot, could you scroll up just a little bit so I can see the lake just a little bit more? There you go. Is this right in here as it goes down to the lake? Scroll up a little bit more. There we go. This would be the location of where the docks would, boy, this is starting to, would be in here. So what would happen is that they would then have to apply to the county through the Wetland Conservation Act to fill wetlands in, because they would, right now we're taking the existing trail through that wetland complex, and they'd have to, you know, to try to apply to go through a wetland replacement plan to prove that they would then be able to fill enough to get to that 50. They don't want the 50. They really are just looking for the 20 feet.
So if I understand correctly, we would be expanding it to fill wetlands in order to have the 50-foot requirement. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Does the applicant have anything that you'd like to add, either of you?
I'll defer to Tony.
Yeah, thanks, Pat. Stacy, thank you for the intro there. I wrote a little something here. I'll be short and quick because I'll be respectful of your time. I know you got a lot on your agenda today. So, Madam Chair, members of the Planning Commission, thank you for your time today. Before anything else, you know, we love this lake. We love the whole lake community here in Crow Wing County. We had a cabin here on this lake years ago. During that time, we built a real lasting relationship with some of our neighbors on this lake. Even back then, we had a dream and opportunity. If we ever came back to this lake, we'd love to preserve a piece of it for you know, future generations. I want to acknowledge something, but I believe deeply. The people who care about lakes of Minnesota, this community that we're all a part of, our hearts are in the right place. We, as Minnesotans of lake country, are true lovers of lakes, the wildlife, and the genuine desire to preserve that natural beauty of the state. We share that together. It's exactly what we bought this land, not to develop it to its fullest extent, to preserve it, as Stacy had mentioned in her briefing. Even before we owned the property, we were already working closely with Crow Wing County Environmental Services, Prairie Restorations, Minnesota DNR, and other private agencies on how to maximize restoration and minimize impact on the land. That work kind of shaped the plan that you have in front of you today, and the long-term management plan as well. When this property became available, you know, we kind of dreams became reality. We got 3 little girls, and our dream is to raise them here along with our future grandchildren someday. That's kind of why you see the 4 lots here in front of you. 1 proposed for ourselves and 1 for each of our daughters in the future. Alongside our personal use, the property, we do intend to use it temporarily and gently as some short-term rentals, as many others do in Crow Wing County, as a way to share lake, you know, share the lake country with other Minnesotans who don't own property themselves on the lake. Enjoy the amenities our small towns and local shops provide in this community. Since coming back to this lake, I've had a chance to talk to many folks around it. A lot of them love the conservation plans and the minimal impact that we're planning on. Lastly, I kind of want to give a little bit of context on scale because I think it matters. Stacy had hit on some of it, but our total property spans roughly 2,500 feet of lakeshore shoreline, 38 acres total. Most lakes around here, you know, the lots range anywhere from 1/4 acre to 2 acres, maybe 50 to 100 feet of shoreline. We've already split off 9 acres, as Stacy had mentioned. That includes about 350 feet of lakeshore into its own separate parcel. With the buildable area on that parcel over 300 feet back from the lake, you know, that parcel alone is larger than most you know, lots around on most lakes, and we did that specifically to allow that to coexist with other, you know, natural habitat around it. We want to continue that act of good faith towards the wildlife and our steward of the land. The remaining 29 acres that we have in front of us here today for modest build sites, over 2,000 feet of lakeshore on these, between these 4 parcels, or these 4 lots, I should say. 2 of those sites sit more than 120 feet off the shore, as it's sketched out here. The other 2 sit back in the woods, more than 700 feet off the shoreline. We already had talked a little bit here about the road. It was approved 50 years ago. We're not really looking to use it in any way differently. We just want to provide access to that lot 4. Not like Stacy had mentioned, not looking to drive vehicles out to the point or anything like that. There's a little walking trail out there. I'd like to mow it if I can, and just get access down to the beach. So nothing crazy there as far as what we're planning on doing with that. I think that's kind of the summary of it. We really didn't buy 38 acres to maximize what we could do with it. We bought it because we wanted room to breathe and room for wildlife. I'm a conservationist myself. We believe that we're proposing here is about as light as a footprint as this size of property could reasonably have. We're happy people, and we hope to be some of the best neighbors on this lake and in the community that it's ever had. So thank you for letting me comment on this.
Thank you for your additions. At this time, then, we will open up this request to public testimony. Is there anyone in the courtroom who would like to address this application and request? Please come forward to the center podium and microphone and state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Richard Arrett, and my address is 18238 Rocky Shores, Crosby, Minnesota. It's on Lake Adney, directly across from the affected property. Is there any way you can throw up page 148 from the packet for me? Yeah. I'm sure it's earlier. There's dupes in there. If I could sort of walk over here and sort of point out, I am objecting to the variance from along the shoreline from the beach to the point. That's what I'm primarily speaking of. Since there's no longer going to be a building on the point, there's no need for access to get to the point. And I understand the need to access the 4 lots, 1, 2, 3, and 4. But there's no reason to extend the road down past lot 4 and then run along within mere feet of the water to a point which has walking trails and a proposed walking trail to get from the beach to the point. So I don't understand why it's not reasonable to have a road run along the lake for 150 feet from the beach to the point. There's no buildings to drive to, and there is no hardship that they need to have the ability to drive from the beach over to the point. They can walk, just like everybody else on the lake walks down to the shoreline. In 1976, the variance that was granted subject to approval by the DNR and with riprap gravel on both sides along with a culvert. And if you look at this picture, which is from the public records, I could bring this up and let you look at it. But this is a picture of when you're standing on the beach and you're looking towards the point. And I don't see riprap, I don't see gravel, I don't see a culvert. It is, you guys were there, you saw the site. I don't believe that there is an existing driveway that extends from the beach to the point. That, I believe, I don't know. So I've lived here since 2004, never seen a driveway over there. I've never seen a vehicle drive along the shoreline to the point. And I question whether that existed between 1976 and 2004. So I guess my question is, maybe staff knows this, did the DNR ever grant this and did they ever do this work? Because I don't see any evidence of a driveway along that shoreline. So this is not an existing driveway along the shoreline there. I believe there is an existing driveway that goes to the beach, but I question and challenge you that there's an existing driveway along the lakefront there. And so I object to that, and I would ask that you basically deny that portion of the variance. Thank you.
Thank you.
May I comment?
everybody make the public
It might-
comments.
it
and
might-
then-
I don't know if,
It
excuse,
might clarify this issue specifically, but it's up to you.
we'll go ahead and continue with public testimony and then go back and address the issues. Is there anyone else in the courtroom who would like to address this application? Please come forward if so.
Give our names and.
Your name and address for the record, please.
Okay,
You might need to pull that microphone down a little bit closer to you.
My name is Teresa Feely, and this is my son Christopher. And our family's been on the lake since probably 1960s, 59. And there has been a swimming beach for the public down in that same, I'm talking about that same area where the road was said to have been. So the road comes down straight, but then kids would walk to the swimming beach because it was for the town, came in and swam. But there has never been a road there. There's a road up higher on the property now, but I'm just wondering if the animals that live on the lake there's a loon, there's a wooden, DNR, I think, put in a wooden, for a loon nest, that a loon is there now with an egg, and the eagle, and there's also beaver dam there.
Dams, where they're proposing to put in the variance of the road. The crossroad goes right across the wetlands where the loon nest is and where the beaver dam is.
So the environmental protection plan has been done, and DNR is okay with this, right?
DNR has been made aware of the application, and they provided no comment. We did not receive any comment.
The area,
We provided the information to the DNR for them to review, and then they didn't give us any comment back.
so they haven't come out and assessed the area for the repercussions of what this will do to
So what we're saying is that the DNRs, they have been made aware of the application, and they didn't give us any information to say that there were any concerns or that they had with it. So I don't know what they did on their end, but they've been notified with the application, so.
Okay,
Yep.
okay. I concur with the gentleman that was here before me that there has never been a road there. It's gone just straight down to where the road is, he says the road is to the point, but there's never been a road to the point. So I would like there not to be a road there now for the interest of the animals.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else in the courtroom who would like to address this application? If so, please come forward. Hello.
Hi, my name is Mary Jo Fritzfold. My address is 18340 Whispering Pines Lane in Crosby. I would just like to elaborate on what Ms. Feely just said. I'm a volunteer for the National Loon Center, and I and my husband are in charge of our artificial nesting platform on our lake, which is over in that area. We took that over in 2021. We do work with the Minnesota Loon Rescue, and we do have that mapped and coordinated with the National Loon Center as we do report data regarding our resident loons every year. So I just wanted to clarify that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Laurel Laborde, 33795 Fairfield 114, Crosby. I just wanted to say that no, there has not been a road along the lake shore. We've been in a drought for many years. Before the drought, the point was often an island. You could not go to the point without a boat. To the west, where you come in off Murray Lane, that turns into a huge swamp in a wet year. And my understanding is there's underground spring that feeds into the lake. To the north, where the little road that's there now goes across, there's another pond
Sometimes it's almost dry right now, but when there's water, that's clear up to where that little road is and sometimes across it. It's all wetland. To the east, it's the same way. That's all wetland that runs up through there. So years back, it was all protected wetland. It was not allowed to have roads, landfill of any kind because of it being a wetland. So as they said, the road came down, it belonged to the township, it came down to the lake, it was free for everybody, you could put your boats in there, you could do whatever. Kids swam there for years and years and years. And then when the previous owners now came in, they blocked that off. I don't think they had, I don't know what they did court-wise, but I don't believe it was a permanent blockage. It was a bluff blockage, just so people wouldn't use it. I don't know who's going to maintain that piece of road if there's that much traffic. I believe I heard you say there's room for up to 17 lots.
The request is for 4 lots.
For 4 lots now. Now. But what about in the years to come?
That was given as a comparison if this were going to be used in a different way. We're talking about 4 lots on this request.
Okay. I just wanted to, I mean, being we're in a drought, it's a whole different look down there than it is when we have good rains. When we have good rains, you have less than half solid ground. The rest is swamp.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there anyone else who would like to address this? And as a reminder, please do not repeat your emails or what someone has stated previously.
Are you still taking
In the courtroom.
questions from the court?
In the courtroom, yes. I'll be online shortly. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is, excuse me, my name is Bob Narrows, 19233 Chokecherry Lane. I've been on a lake since 1999. I've seen the lake rise and fall many times. Well, right now we're below average, way below. When we're up to average or above, which is quite often, that area is all covered with water. The gentleman mentioned that you would maybe, if he wanted another variance, take 50 feet and cover it with wetland. I don't know if that would be approved or not, but right now, in a normal rotation, say every 10 years, that road is wetlands anyway. So I think that part of the variance, I don't believe should go through. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the courtroom who would like to address this application?
My name is Jane Arrett, 18238 Rocky Shores on Lake Adney. I'd like to oppose the variance requested by Adney Exchange Holding Company. I believe that the preliminary findings of fact regarding the variance prepared by the staff do not adequately address the situation. The staff seem to conflate the existing driveway that would go to the 4 lots with the driveway, I put quotes around that because there is no driveway, but that runs along the shore. I think that they did not adequately address those 2 separate things. Of course, there needs to be a driveway that goes to the 4 houses or buildings that you are allowing. But when they went through their discussion about the variance, and whether it's, for example, in harmony with the purposes and intent of the ordinance, it would be in in harmony to get to a building, but why is it in harmony with the ordinance to have a driveway that runs along the shore so close to the water to get to a place where there would be a walking trail? That to me doesn't seem to be in the spirit of the ordinance or a reason why a variance would be granted for that portion. It seems that the driveway from Lot 4 to the lake is completely unnecessary, and even more unreasonable to think that we can extend that along the lake shore in this fragile impact zone, in the shoreline impact zone. For what reason? For the guests to enjoy at the Airbnb or resort or whatever the thing is going to be? There's no reason why are cars going to drive down to the lake and be parked there? Is it a parking lot? I'm a little confused on what the purpose or what the scope is of that. It's not just to get to the houses, it's to go to the point where there's never been traffic going to the point. So I don't believe it's consistent with, I don't believe it's reasonable. I don't think it's consistent with the comprehensive plan for this county. I don't think that there's a need for that portion due to the circumstances of the property. I don't believe that it maintains the essential character of the locality. The essential character of our lake shore and that locality and what I would call our neighborhood, having a driveway there is not characteristic. It is out of character for our neighborhood. Also, it seems like it's almost an economic consideration to have this driveway at that particular shore, in the setback, in the shoreline impact zone. And I don't think an economic consideration justifies a variance. It's a way to get people to come and rent the property. Granting the variance is not in character with our lake. It's not in character with protecting our shoreline. And I request that the planning committee deny the variance request and the conditional use permit. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the courtroom who would like to address this application?
Hello, my name is Gwen Thomas, 18293 Whispering Pines Lane on Adney Lake. I just would like to add regarding the lake and our the clarity of our water currently. Mary Jo mentioned the loon nesting that we do, and as we know, loons tend to like fresh, clear water. We're a spring-fed lake. We currently do our own testing. Mr. Fritzvold does that for us in cooperation with the governments that keep track of that. And we're currently at a clarity of over 20 feet in our lake. During the last DNR testing of the water in, I believe it was 2023, it was at 17 feet. I am one of the officers of the Adney Lake Association, and one of the things we always talk about at our annual meetings is to be sure that we're not adding fertilizer on our lawns with phosphorus, that we're not taking boats from one lake to another to bring in. We currently don't have zebra mussel. We don't have any of the invasive species that so many other lakes have in this county. Many of our lakes currently are dealing with swimmer's itch at the beaches. They can't even use the beaches. Our lake doesn't have that. And this is what we're trying to maintain. So to have any kind of impacted soil right around the lake is not appealing to us at all because of the potential for heavy rainfall runoff, that brings additional unfiltered water into the lake because that natural habitat has been disturbed. We also talk to our landowners around the lake to make sure that only the approved portion of the lakeshore is cleared for their personal use, for their dock or so forth, that the rest remains nature. And that's why we're at that lake. Plenty of other opportunities around Minnesota and Wisconsin, and we chose Adney for these reasons. And we just like to keep it that way. And we know the Beckers are great people. We know they've done some really good things in other areas. That's great. Having a residence and land for their children growing up, we all want to do things like that. And we're supportive of that. We want good neighbors like that. What we don't want is more rental property on our lake. We have a couple already. We're having difficulties with them. They're not following the noise ordinances. They're not following the number of vehicles on the property at any given time, or the number of people, or the types of vessels on our lake. To have a wave boat on Lake Adney, a 320, sometimes 310 acre lake as it is today, it's not what this lake is about. We are pontoon people. We are kayak people. We are stand-up paddleboard people. And we go a circle, like twice around the lake to even make it worth taking the boat out. That's the kind of lake we are. And that's what we want to keep it. So I appreciate your time today. Thank you for considering it. I would ask you to deny the variance.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the courtroom who'd like to address this application?
Rick Aird again, an addendum. I forgot to mention the dock. The application talks about a permanent dock with 5 slips, and I'm a little unclear about what they mean by permanent. Is it going to be like a marina dock where it stays in year-round and it's there in the winter? All the other docks and boat lifts on the lake are removed in the winter. And so I think a permanent dock would change the character of the lake quite a bit to have that sticking out year-round. And so I object to that part as well. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else in the courtroom who would like to address this application? Anyone? Anyone in the courtroom? Hello.
Name is Brad Peterson. I live at 18611 Greer Lake Road on Adney Lake. And I got a unique perspective. My family owned that land until the mid-70s. I remember as a child growing up there that, as it's been mentioned, that the point at times is an island. Before that, long ago, there was a bridge connecting the land to the island because of the beaver run there. Nature has been very important in that area, and currently, as it's been stated, there is not a road along the lake leading up to the point. It's always been more of a trail, whether it was for walking or more recently dirt bikes. It would change the whole character of the lake, and my wife and I have a concern knowing that the current owners have a history of having event centers, retreat centers, that one variance would lead to another variance, which would lead to another variance, which would lead to more traffic in the area. And the current driveway into that area is an unsafe for if you have constant people coming in and out that do not know that corner. It's a 90-degree turn. And I'd say at least once a month there are skid marks on that corner because people don't take it as a fact that when it says slow down to 10, you need to slow down to 10. And I've walked my dog around there where they have went straight ahead down Murray Lane because they knew if they tried to take that corner, they would tip. So our concern is more traffic being in the area, and we do not see a point for the road along the lake. We understand that if you have lots, you need to access the lots, but the variance as it stands, we do not agree with. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the courtroom who would like to address this application? Anyone? Please come forward.
Hi, my name is Mike Baker, and I'm at 18293 Whispering Pines Lane. And I just want to add a little something to the driveway going down, not just the one coming across. The purpose of the driveway going down, I haven't really seen or heard a reason for that, like somebody else said, but the only reason I can possibly think of is that at some point in time, they're going to put another lake access down in there, put the boats in, and that's going to be further damage, and like we talked about, just another addendum or whatever. So I think that there's more to this than what we're hearing about right here than that. So I'm against it. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the courtroom who would like to address this application? Anyone? Anyone? Seeing no one else, we will go to online for comment and public testimony. And what hand do we have raised? Beth, if you can.
There are a couple.
Beth Murray, if you can.
Hi, this is Beth. Yep.
Go ahead, please.
My name is.
Thank you.
My name is Beth Murray, and I live at 32102 Adney Lake Road in Crosby, Minnesota. And my family has been on the lake since 1947. So I want to talk about the history. And has there been a history evaluation done on this lake? Because Lake Adney has a tremendous historical value in the African American community. It was one of the very first lakes in Minnesota to allow African Americans to purchase property. It's in the Minnesota History Center. It has had several different articles done on it. It has books published on it. It is well known throughout Minnesota as well as other states that people used to come here and visit and spend their family and have crawdad boils and fish fries. And there's a whole tradition on that side of the lake that I don't believe has even been taken into consideration. And I'd really like to see some kind of evaluation done on that and how it's going to affect that. Because if you are taking out all of that road, all of those huge boulders over there, I mean, to get up onto the peninsula from a boat or from where it's even proposing, there's huge boulders, massive size boulders, and you have to take a 3-foot jump to get up there. It's not, there's no road, it's water and land, period. And it's grassland, and I would really hate to see it mowed. So what I'm saying is, if you're going to be disturbing the lake to that extent, then it is going to parcel over to the south side where you're going to affect the crawdads. So they're not going to be sufficient for the yearly annual crawdad boils. Or, you know, you're going to have so many people on this lake fishing that the people who live here are not going to be able to enjoy their traditional fish fries. So I really want somebody to take a strong look at the history side of this lake and the historical significance of this lake. And I do not want to see it changed with a resort type of experience. I don't care that you have a huge, whatever that is, you put over there, and you're advertising for a building you haven't even been approved of yet for that you're going to be renting out. So you haven't even heard from your community that you so want to be involved in. So I really, really strongly oppose this variance in every aspect. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is there anyone else online who would like to address this application?
Yes, I'm here.
Andy Dunbar?
Yes, that's me.
You'd state
Can you
your-
hear me okay?
Yes, I can. If you can state your name and address for the record, please, sir.
Sure. My name is Andy Dunbar. I live on 18297 West Adney Lane, Crosby. And due to the natural impact, we heard early testimony around like loons, the wildlife there. I would like to propose, if it hasn't been already, a stop work order on further construction and development with big construction cars using those roads that we've been questionable of or concerned about. I think just having the board consider the stop order for further development at this point until, DNR responses are received or other ecological impact analysis done would help ensure the integrity of the existing lake and the wildlife.
Is there anything else, sir?
Nope, just that confirmation of the proposed stop development order.
Thank you. Is there anyone else online who would like to address this application? Anyone? Seeing no one, I will then close public testimony and bring it back to the applicants and staff to address some of the concerns and comments that were made during public testimony. We can start with the applicants.
Thank you. And thank you for your comments, and it's something that we agree with you in many aspects concerning the roadway along the lakeshore. In Tony's opening remarks, it was a little muddled in here. I don't know if you guys could catch it, but he did say he had no interest in anything west of the beach or east of the beach. In the drawing, it's hard to see because of the scale of the drawing. The 20-foot corridor ends at the beach. The only thing that's showing there is an existing path, drive. We called it a driveway, certainly walking or bike trail or something. We're just showing an existing condition so that we did not, say show something less favorable. We showed warts and all. But if you zoom in on it, it's hard to see because of the scale. But the line work for the 20-foot corridor ends at the beach. And there is nothing planned out for a roadway heading to the east of the beach. That will be taken over by nature. There's at most a walking trail, which is allowable use. Tony, any comments on that?
No, thank you for clarifying that. We've done a lot of research on this property, and the U of M actually they have historical satellite imagery, which has helped us provide some context to our conservancy plan. Actually, if we go to their website, they have a satellite image from 1939. One of the public members had made a comment of how that road, came from Marie Lane and took a turn, down to that beach, which is current as of today. But then the road continued actually through the peninsula. You can see it on the satellite imagery. And then there's a bridge on the other side of the peninsula connecting it to where Cherry Choke Lane now is. So I don't know what happened 50 years ago with the, CUP on this driveway or road, whatever we want to name it. But it's pretty clear from the satellite imagery that there was something there where people were accessing from, the west side of the lake to the east side of the lake. And I would only presume that, what's left there of what Pat said, walking trail from beach area to the peninsula is just that, remnants of an old road. It actually extends back to the west. So if you go from the beach to the west to Marie Lane, that walking trail, AKA Old Road, has now overgrown, but there's still a ridge there, which is now a walking trail. So Pat's accurate. All we want to do is access the beach. As you know, our building lots, other than 4, lot 4 is about 120 from the actual lake. All the other lots are 300 plus feet from the lake shore. So it's simply driving golf cart, whatnot from those dwellings down to the beach to provide access. That's all we're looking to do. And yeah, if we could have a walking trail from the beach and use that existing roadway to get out to the peninsula, whether it's to have a campfire out there or enjoy the property that we own, we would greatly appreciate that. That's all the comment I have. Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to ask staff now with some of the comments and concerns that were specific that you might want to answer or respond to.
I think some of the concerns that were raised are valid, and I don't think we have any dispute over that. I think the point being that the variance request is what road ends at Adney, and I think you could place a condition on that says no vehicles allowed, beyond that point down towards the point, if you thought that would be, maybe alleviate some of the concerns of the neighbors that, it sounds like when the water's up, it'll take care of itself, is what it kind of sounds like. I think, like we'd mentioned before, there's some concerns over rentals. The county has a rental ordinance that governs short-term rentals. If you have a couple of rentals that are giving you some problems now, I'd recommend contacting our office at 218-824-1010. We'd be happy to talk about that. We have some hotline number you can call in the evenings and weekends if there's noise issues, so that things can be reported to law enforcement. We can get reports. We need that information, and so we'd be happy to talk about that. If you would want to contact our office, we could be happy to chat with you more about that. But I think we could address the main concern, which is just the fact of having the, no motorized, down towards that peninsula. However, you guys thought might be appropriate to have that as a condition of the conditional use permit. Could definitely add that in. And then I think the other one, I think that would address generally, I think, most of the concerns. If you have any questions for us.
Okay, I just wanted the opportunity because there was a lot.
There was a lot. It was great. It was some really good comments, and so
Yeah.
thank you to the public for their participation today.
Okay.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
We're in for discussion.
We're ready for discussion from the board.
So I will say, having been on the on-site, I was confused about that road because we talked about it being a road that goes along the lake. So hearing the discussion tonight, I would sure like a condition, and if you look at the survey, it gives you every reason to think that the road continues along the lake. So having heard what the applicant said, I would be very interested in a condition that says that 20-foot corridor ends at the beach and that be reflected clearly on the survey. And we add that as a condition of our approval of the variance. That'd be my proposal, so that there can be no dispute about that in the future. And then the pathway is just the land that's dictated by the wetland and what happens with water, et cetera, but that there would be no development of that as a trail, or it just remains natural. So that'd be my suggestion to address that concern. I don't know how the other board members feel, but now that that's been clarified by the applicant, I think that would clear that up if we were very specific about it.
We heard it numerous times, I think, during our public testimony, and I think that does address some of the concerns that were articulated, so.
So if we could just be clear, I would then add propose adding a condition that says that the 20-foot access corridor would end at the beach, and that maybe it's two conditions, and that the survey that would be proposed as part of the plat would be clear that that will not be used as a roadway to the peninsula.
But a trail, a walking trail.
And that it would remain natural, or whatever we would like to call it.
I don't think it's right to deny someone access to the high ground that they have available to them by saying, no way can you get there. Just let it grow,
If I may, Madam Chair, I agree. I'm just saying that we would be clear, it's not a road.
That I can.
And if they wish to have a trail, that's a different story. But I just want to make sure that the condition would be, of the variance would be that the 20-foot access corridor ends at the beach. And my second condition to that would be that the survey that would be associated with the plat would very clearly indicate that. Because it doesn't today in the survey that's in front of us. So that'd be my suggestion for two conditions.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I agree with John, but on that one, that the 20-foot access road stops at the beach, maybe go a little farther with that condition and state no motorized vehicles allowed from the point to the peninsula.
From the, I'm sorry, so from the end
From
of
the,
that access corridor to...
From the beach to the peninsula.
Sure.
Add that to that potential findings saying the 20-foot access road ends at the beach. And then just add that there's no motorized vehicles allowed from that point over to Peninsula.
And I think we could add those two conditions as conditions of the variance, I think, so.
And I think it'd also be good for the property owner to address that in his declarations and covenants also, so people know if they buy in there that they can't take four-wheelers or golf carts or anything over to that peninsula. I think that should be maybe put into their covenants so they know that that's what it is. That's just a suggestion that I have. The other thing I want to comment on is we have that existing 20-foot. I think personally, it would be more detrimental to deny that 20-foot variance, a 20-foot wide access road. Because then he could, like Chris said, he could apply for a Wetland Conservation Act and create a 50-foot road, which to me would be more detrimental to the existing wetlands than to just let him use that 20-foot access road.
I agree.
Madam Chair, could I just make one other comment, please? I also think that we ought to recognize that in this proposal for the CUP is a pretty extensive long-term management plan, pretty detailed. Any amendments to that plan, as I read it, require the approval of this board.
Correct.
And I would also point out that that since that plan is part of the conditions for the CUP, if it wasn't followed, right, then the Article 7.11 would allow consideration of revoking the CUP because they're not meeting the conditions. So to my point, there's safeguards to ensure that we're following that long-term management plan, if I understand it correctly.
Correct.
Further discussion?
Madam Chair, just, the concern with short-term rentals. I mean, Crow Wing County allows short-term rentals. Anybody can take their house and turn it into a short-term rental, VRBO, Airbnb, whatever they want to call it. And I don't see that as a potential for denying the conditional use permit because it's something that is allowed by ordinance. So just to, just kind of address that. I mean, I just don't see how that would prohibit this from going forward.
So, Madam Chair, I'd recommend the first application you'd consider tonight would be the variance application, and then we would proceed to the conditional use permit and then proceed to the plat.
Okay, so if there's no further discussion, we can go ahead and take action on the variance request first.
Could we bring up the findings of fact, please?
Madam Chair, findings of fact for the variance are on page 114 of your packet.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
If there are no changes to the findings of fact, I would offer a motion to approve the variance for a 20-foot wide access corridor where 50 feet is required for driveway within shore impact zone where no driveways are allowed, subject to the two conditions we added this evening or afternoon.
There are no conditions in the variance.
In the variance?
Yep, Madam Chair, John, I think the conditions, as we mentioned, were, I think it sounded like there's 3 of them total. One was that the 20-foot corridor ends at the beach and does not travel down to the point. No motorized vehicles from the beach down to that point, and then to update the survey to reflect that.
Yeah, Sue was just whispering in my ear there are no conditions for a variance, but
Those were for the CUP or for the variance?
We didn't propose conditions for the variance, but you can put these conditions on the
so
variance.
I would
make sense.
propose those
It
3
makes sense.
conditions,
Yep.
and then subject to the findings of fact that have been in the staff report, the survey requesting it be revised, and the staff report.
Got it.
There's a motion and there's a second. Is there further discussion?
Madam Chair, I'd like to ask John and Rock, when you're, based on your findings of fact, also I would like to add, and the onsite that was conducted by board, because that's when we really seen that 20-foot.
I agree, and I incorporate that in the staff, that's part of the staff report, so I agree.
Okay.
Further discussion? Hearing none, before the board takes final action on this variance request, I need to verify 4 items with the applicant. Do you understand what is being approved tonight?
I do.
Do you understand the conditions that are required as part of this approval?
I would like clarity on the walking trail condition for allowing or not allowing mowing of the trail to the peninsula for access, foot access. There's a lot of ticks and stuff like that. I'm concerned with allowing that to not be mowed.
I don't know that we talked about, and it was motorized vehicles. I don't believe we were talking about mowing. Can you read, let's read that condition again so you're clear.
Sure.
Said no motorized vehicles from the beach area to the peninsula area, to the point area.
No motorized vehicles. That's all it states.
We're talking landward, not in, I mean, they could take it from their dock, a boat over to the peninsula. Is that what we're, I mean?
Well, he was asking about mowing because of ticks and that, for the trail to walk there. And we did not put anything in there regarding mowing.
We did not.
No.
Is that helpful?
That would be helpful if we would be allowed, there's an existing trail there right now, which is that old road bed.
Right.
That's all we use it for.
There's
so
no language that we're putting in that's addressing that you cannot mow.
I just want to make it clear if, you know, if others around the lake are seeing a motorized mower on the peninsula, they're not making a phone call to you guys.
Okay.
It's not considered a motorized vehicle.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
So you do understand then the conditions after that discussion that are required as part of the approval?
Yes, thank you.
And do you understand that you must obtain permits now from Land Services Department before construction begins?
Yes.
Do you understand what is being approved tonight is final? Any future changes to what is being approved tonight, such as structure size, height, or location, must be approved by this board? This means that you would be required to submit a new application, pay the appropriate fees, and provide an updated survey and any other required information with the new request. Staff cannot modify or change what has been approved by this board.
Understood.
Okay, with that being understood, then we will proceed with the vote. All those in favor of this variance application with the conditions and that were as discussed, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. The next item that we will,
Madam Chair.
yes,
I have findings of facts for the conditional use on page 164.
164 on the conditional use permit. That is the next item that we will be addressing, which application 164.
Then there's 9 potential conditions listed on page 167.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
There's no proposed changes. I would offer a motion.
Motion to approve.
Yes, I'd offer a motion to approve the conditional use permit for a conservation development, subject to the 9 conditions. I believe there's 9 conditions. The findings of fact in the staff report, the on-site, and the survey, but I do want to note the same condition, maybe it's on 10. I'd like the survey adjusted to reflect, I would like to add the survey condition as number 10 that we use for the variance, if that's appropriate.
Yes, very good.
So 10 conditions.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
I'll second that. But Madam Chair, I'd like to also add condition 11 that says the 20-foot access road ends at the beach, just like we did on the variance, and that there's no motorized vehicles from the beach allowed from the beach to peninsula. I want that. It was in the variance as a condition. I think it needs to be in the conditional use permit as a condition.
Okay.
So they're both, it's covered.
Sure.
Okay with that? Okay, so there's a motion and a second. Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And I do need to back up for just a second to make sure that you do understand what has just been approved tonight.
Understood.
And do you understand the conditions that we talked about and the additions to the conditions?
Yes.
Okay, and that what's being approved tonight is final. Any future changes to what's being approved must be approved by this board. This means that you'd be required to submit a new application, pay the appropriate fees, and provide an updated survey and any other required information with the new request. Staff can't modify or change what's been approved by this board with this conditional use permit.
Understood.
Understood. Thank you, sir. Okay. Lastly, we're going to be looking at making a recommendation regarding a preliminary plat.
Madam Chair, findings of fact are on page 215 of your packet.
215.
Madam Chair, is it sufficient that we've covered the, if I may ask, the survey requirement as part of the other two, so we don't need to cover it here?
I believe that's correct.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I'd make a motion to approve the preliminary plat with the 5 conditions.
Second. There's a motion and a second. Is there further discussion?
Just, and Madam Chair, that's a recommendation to the county.
Yes, it's this is a recommendation to the county board. We do not have final decision-making on this preliminary plat. There's a motion and a second. Further discussion? Hearing none, I need to talk to the applicant once again. Do you understand that tonight we are making a recommendation on approval of this preliminary plat to the county board to approve your preliminary plat request?
I understand.
And the county board has final approval over this request, and their next meeting will be
July 28th.
July 28th, 9 a.m. in this same room, in the courtroom.
I understand.
Okay, and do you understand that the required conditions placed on the preliminary plat must be completed before applying for the final plat request?
Understand.
Okay, we will then proceed with the vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you very much. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you.
Okay, our next application will be with Great North Communication LLC, Rick Adams. Once again, we're looking at a variance, a conditional use permit, and a preliminary plat. Good afternoon.
Good evening.
Is it evening?
Oh, it's afternoon yet, so just seems like evening.
If you could state your name and address for
That's
the...
Rick Adams. My address is 1635 East Ponto Lake Road, Northwest, Bacchus, Minnesota. Of course, I don't live on the property that we're obviously got the variance and the conditional use application on. That's a commercial piece of property that I own with my partner, Joe Agee. We own, we're 50-50 partners on Great Northern Communications LLC.
Okay, thank you very much. Nicolette, can you read the request into the record, please?
Yes. Madam Chair, property owner is Great North Communications LLC, Rick Adams. Parcel number 732-40513. Physical address of the property is 23324 County Road 3 in Merrifield, and this is in Lake Edward Township. The applicant has 3 items before the board this evening. The applicant is requesting a conditional use permit to establish a commercial storage facility on this property. Approval of this use requires compliance with all provisions of Article 17 of the Land Use Ordinance, which outlines the standards and criteria applicable to commercial storage facilities. Due to a proposed future Crow Wing County Highway Department realignment affecting road frontage, the applicant is requesting a variance to allow the proposed storage buildings to be placed further south on the site. Specifically, the applicant is requesting a variance to Article 17.1 to allow a 50-foot setback from an adjoining residential property. So a 50-foot setback for the commercial structures where 100 feet would be required. Since the storage structures are proposed to be sold as individual units, the applicant is requesting approval of the preliminary plat of Gobbler's Storage Addition, which proposes 12 lots and 2 outlots. This property is located off of County Road 3, just north of Merrifield. The property is zoned commercial, and it is surrounded by commercial, industrial, residential, and shoreline uses. The certificate of survey is on page 225 of your packet. The applicant shares joint access to County Road 3 with the neighboring property to the northeast. This is their joint access to County Road 3 and their proposed access into the storage area. A comment was received from the Highway Department on July 1st that the proposed future frontage road is adequately shown on the preliminary plat. In an email received this afternoon from Rob Hall at the Highway Department, he confirmed that there is currently no timeline, funding, or program for the frontage road, that at this point it has been a discussion with the majority of the property owners. The applicant is trying to accommodate for the proposed future frontage road within his proposal by placing the proposed buildings out of this area. This line right here is the new proposed future frontage road. Currently, this is the road right-of-way line for County Road 3. After discussion with Highway, the landowner found that if and when a future frontage road does go in here, this would be the new road right-of-way alignment for that area. So he is proposing to push his structures back down. There is an existing cellular tower that is located on proposed lot 12 that was approved by the board in December of 2024. The existing shed on lot 14, which is the proposed future frontage area, is proposed by the applicant to stay in its current location until the frontage road comes in or the applicant is ready to construct the last storage building. The applicant has a tenant within the structure and would like to respect the existing lease. There is a recommended condition from staff to address this. Noting some on-site comments from the board from June 30th, the parcel is adjacent to other commercial properties. Residential parcels within 100 feet have similar structures as the proposed project. The planned frontage road is unique to the property and not caused by the property owner. No comment was received from the township. As stated before, a comment was received from the Highway Department stating the proposed future frontage road is adequately shown on the plat. The Highway Department also recommended that the plat also identify CASA 3, County Road 3, as having access control between the southwest property corner and the south line of the existing 20-foot ingress-egress easement. A comment was received from MnDOT with no concerns. No comments were received from other agencies or the public. I can answer any questions you may have.
The smoke, I think, in the area is getting to us all. Does anyone have any questions for staff? Do you have anything that you'd like to add?
Yes, the county highway department has limited access there. When we purchased the property a few years ago, the driveway was totally on our neighbor John's property to the kind of the north. And so when we built the communication site, we added to that driveway, we actually added 12 feet to the driveway that's on our property. So we do have, we believe, adequate access into our property, solely on our property. In addition to that 12 feet of driveway we put in, we also put in about an 8-foot drainage ditch because a lot of our neighbors' water from his driveway, plus from the drainage easement that's on our kind of north property line, drains through there. And when we bought the property, there was a little 4-inch pipe buried in the ground we didn't think was adequate to take care of the surface water to get it to the ditch line. So we put in an 8-foot swale or ditch alongside the driveway so that that driveway, our neighbor's driveway and our driveway will drain properly. And I know our neighbor wants us to, he gets a little upset because as you can see, when traffic comes off of that Highway 3, because of the sharp angle, sometimes there's a little bit of traffic on some of his driveway, and they don't totally make the sharp turn, so they stay on our property. So he's brought that up a couple times. We try to be good neighbors and say, well, we'll tell people to try to stay on our driveway, on our property line. But on the other hand, we've allowed him to drive across our lot because he owns property way to the south. And up till now, up to date, we've allowed him to drive across our property just to try to be a good neighbor. And so I know he wants the highway department to put in that frontage road. We would like the frontage road put in because then we wouldn't have to share a driveway, I would think. But since we do have to share a driveway, we have to put up with little transgressions here and there on the traffic. You can't put a fence down that property line to make sure that when someone turns off Highway 3, if they're our customer, they stay on our side of the property line. If they're John's customer, they stay on his side. I mean, it's a common driveway. That's how the county planned access off that highway.
Thank you. Is there anything else that you would like to add?
Well, just that you folks have been out there, you see that the residential lots to the east aren't being used as residential lots. They're all being used as storage lots. And all those buildings are larger than the buildings we plan on putting on that side of the property.
Okay, thank you very much. At this time, we'll open up this request to public testimony. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address this application in the courtroom? Anyone? Please come forward and good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I'm the John Cullinane, spoken of by Mr. Adams. 23332 County Road 3, Bearfield. I have the Anderson side of the property, which is toward Cross Lake with storage buildings. And as mentioned, 4 lots over this way, I have 3 buildings. They're on the other end. After I spoke with you, Chris, I printed off the 25-acre plat. If anybody wants this to see it while we're talking, I thought they might have them see the bigger picture. I've enjoyed, it's a 25-acre plat that the Andersons put together, and set up the crossover, which I've had, they never did easements, and I knew that when I bought the property. I knew I had the good fortune of neighbors who said, go ahead and use the thing. Life's changing. I'm looking at a crippling event in my business, and I'm trying to figure out how this is going to work itself out and help with the county. Of which, by the way, Rob Hall's known me for 5 years, and I've been on him very aggressively for this day to come, knowing that I would lose this and not be able to reach the other side. There's a lot of pressure with just the customers that come into my business during the 2 different seasons off of County Road 3. And my understanding of the frontage road, which was the first thing I looked for within here, I was looking to see the frontage road happening here, or some kind of a date on it, nothing. Rob didn't call me back. I spoke with one of his other staff. But the reality of now, what I was talking with him 5 years ago, putting me in a very difficult position in moving equipment back and forth across the way, is going to end. I don't bear hard feelings. He owns the lot. He has every right to do this. So I don't have a problem or an attitude with it. It's like I'm just trying to deal with it. So I see that they did put the line for the future proposed frontage road there, which was good. If you can see that clear enough, my lot is not a square as the one you see here with my neighbor. My lot's a pentagon shaped. And the point to the pentagon comes off of the entrance up at County Road 3 to the end of the property line that he shows there, okay? So it creates an issue out in the front. And I have communicated with Rob Hall, I communicated with him the day they did that, and they said, you don't have near enough space on my neighbor's side for his traffic to take place on his property. So same summer that they put in the right-hand turn lanes, they put in the turnabout, if anybody knows the County Road 3 and where County Road 3 and 4 meet. We had heavy rains. That ditch filled up and it flooded us on this side. I'm out there arguing with the highway department on some of what Mr. Adams said as far as the swale going which way and taking care of the problem. We get a high enough rain and the water comes our way and it's not going to stop until they cut that off, and I tried to get them to do it at the time. They chose not to. So with that angle coming in, it's pretty obvious if you blow that thing up anymore to be able to see that the majority of the traffic coming off with where they put the pin right in the middle of the asphalt. The majority of the traffic's coming in, so I didn't see a frontage road. First thing I looked at is where is access going to be for this plat? Because I'm not here with any challenge or concern about number 1 or number 2, to be specific. I'm dealing with the preliminary plat. This is my part of my discussion here. So I looked for access, and I looked, and correct me if I'm wrong, but if you look at that, I don't know how anybody can see that access is not shown coming clearly off of my property. I'd like feedback if somebody's seeing it differently. I don't have a red marker, but Chris, if you can mark what I'm talking about.
You got a highlighter, right? You got a pointer right next to you there.
On my driveway there, yeah, right there. On my driveway there, it depicts like there's some type of a 2-lane happening there. I'm not sure why the survey showed it like that, because there isn't anything. The pictures that I gave you help you to see that it's nothing more than my private driveway going along the front of the buildings. So I am, without a doubt, looking at a preliminary plat that has entrance to a nice storage project going on here. That's all going to be entered through my property, and I'm in disagreement with that. And I'm here asking for whatever feedback I'm going to get from you folks here versus continuing discussions with staff after this as to why I'm supposed to be expecting that that's okay to take place. The 12 feet that Rick had mentioned about, you'd have to come out and see it. I could take you pictures or something, but you need to take a direct look at the 12 feet and see that it's not doing anything for clear access for his customers to be onto his property. They come in and it's all done on my property, and I'm looking at this, and correct me if I'm wrong, but are you folks seeing that the traffic is supposed to come on this side of the property line to where he's got the little drive in there? Is that what you're seeing this as? Okay, because I fully disagree with that. You come out the lot and look at it, and it's not going to happen that way. They're going to come off County Road 3, which is a right-hand turn lane, and they're going to come right into that big area of my lot, and then they're going to come into his. And I'm totally against that. I told Rob the frontage road is the answer, because the frontage road will go from the edge of his property line up toward the Anderson word, and it will allow, with the frontage road there, him to have entrance where that word blocks.
Madam Chair.
Yes, excuse me, sir.
I'm sorry.
Are we at our
Yes, sir.
5-minute time?
Point of order, we're at the time.
Sir, we are at our 5-minute time limit, so we need to,
I've gotten out what I can say,
okay.
okay?
Thank you so much.
And I was told, here's the place I was supposed to come and say it, so.
Yes, we do have a time limit, but I thank you for your time and your comments. Is there anyone else in the courtroom who would like to address this application? Please come forward.
My name is Joe Eggy, 435 Laura Lane Southeast, St. Michael, Minnesota. I happen to be one of the principals for Great Northern Communications. I'm a former economic development director, ran the Meeker County Economic Development Authority. I'm a prior licensed real estate broker and a prior licensed real estate appraiser. I look to highest and best uses of property. We've done our best to work with the constant complaints from the north to do a development that is the highest and best use for this property. We have storage units to the north, we have storage units to the south, we've got 6 private storage units to the east, and we have done our best to recognize the difficulty with the approach, but it is what it is. The county is going to be using it in the future when we honor their requests for the property to put in the service drive. We have already improved the property by removing a worn out building that was once a residential unit. We've done our part to beautify the place. This is basically, it could be looked at as a planned unit development for storage units that are already there. There's already a need for them, and people want them, and we'll do our best to make it beautiful and work with all of our neighbors.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the courtroom who would like to address this application? Anyone? Seeing no one, I'll double check to see if there's anyone online. I don't believe so. Bring it back to the board for further discussion and action on the variance conditional use permit and preliminary plat.
You're going to let the applicant.
You have anything that you would like to add, sir?
Just to clarify, we plan on selling these lots to individuals, and they would be building their own buildings, except for maybe the first one we would spec. So it's not going to be a commercial storage operation like John has. It'll be private owners of these buildings, so the traffic will be minimal once the buildings are constructed. Also, there has been as John mentioned, somewhat of a drainage problem out there, and of course, Widseth is working on a drainage plan where the drainage will change a bit and won't have all the drainage going to the ditch like it is now.
Thank you. Okay, we'll bring it back to the board for further discussion, questions, clarifications needed.
Madam Chair, we did our on-site on this. I mean, you got cloud stamping across the road. You've got storage units on one side. You got storage. This, to me, with the cell tower on this property, is the best use of this property is storage units. And you could do a residential plat, but I don't see anybody wanting to build a house next to a cell tower. So I think what the applicant is proposing is the best use on this property.
Further discussion?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I have a question for the on-site people.
Okay.
So we see this approach. We see the property pin located in the center of the approach on the right-of-way. I mean, anybody accessing either of these two parcels are gonna enter on one guy's property and leave on the other guy's property. That's just a fact of it. It's, the property pin is located in the center of the approach. So, just seems like it's beneficial to both property owners to just say, well, they just, it is what it is. I don't see where the...
Yeah, I did speak with Highway, with Rob Hall a little bit. And I think Highway would be willing to, allow this approach to be widened here a little. They still want the shared approach, but I think they would be willing to kind of allow a little more of an expansion to the south to maybe help
get the traffic
coming around that corner so that it gets back more onto the property for the development that we're talking about today. So I think they'd have to talk to Highway about that and work that out, but it sounds like that would be something Highway would be willing to entertain.
Any other discussion or comments?
So is this surface, I guess, that's why I asked the on-site, is this surface gravel currently, as it's shown on this plat, is that gravel there?
Yeah, it's partial, there's some asphalt, and then, yeah, I think it's all, is that all?
Madam Chair, if we go to 224, the page right above it, Rock can see what's existing now for gravel.
It's all gravel rock.
So currently,
That's not accurate for what
you're
exists.
right.
Because that shows the old trailer house on it.
You're right.
And that's the way it was when we bought the property, but we added 12 feet of driveway on our property line.
Gravel on yours, yep.
Right.
There's no bituminous.
Okay.
Any other discussion?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
We're going to take these one at a time,
Yes.
I assume. So I would move approval of we should probably put the findings up first.
The variance, yep.
I'm going to get ahead of us here.
Madam,
275.
And since we've read them and no one has any changes, then I would move approval of the variance of a setback of 50 feet where 100 feet is required from residential to storage building based on the findings of fact, the staff report, the site visit, and with no conditions.
There's a motion on the floor. There's a second. Further discussion? Hearing none. Sir, before we take action on this, I need to verify 4 items with you. And do you understand what is being approved tonight with this variance?
Yes.
Do you understand the conditions that are required as part of this approval, and there are none under this variance, under this particular variance?
Right, you said there was none.
Right. Do you understand that you must obtain permits now from the Land Services Department before any construction would begin?
Yes.
And do you understand that what is being approved tonight is final? Any future changes to what is being approved tonight, such as structure size, height, or location, must be approved by this board? This means that you would be required to submit a new application, pay the appropriate fees, and provide an updated survey and any other required information with the new request. Staff cannot modify or change what has been approved by this board.
Yes.
Okay, we'll proceed with the vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next would be the conditional use permit.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
if there's no corrections or additions to the findings, I would like to make a motion to approve the conditional use permit for commercial storage buildings consisting of 11 buildings with the 11 conditions in the staff report, the findings of facts in the staff report, and the on-site conducted and the certificate of survey in the staff report.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
I'll second.
There is a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, before we take action on this conditional use permit application, I need to verify 3 items with you in this case. Do you understand what is being approved tonight?
Yes, I do.
Understand the conditions that are required as part of this approval?
Yes,
And do you understand what is being approved tonight is final? Any future changes to what is being approved tonight must be approved by this board. This means that you would be required to submit a new application, pay the appropriate fees, and provide an updated survey and any other required information with the new request.
yes,
The staff cannot modify or change what has been approved by this board.
yes.
Okay. Then we will proceed to vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Lastly is the preliminary plat, and this is a recommendation that we make to the county board.
Madam Chair, findings of fact are on page 395.
Chair, if there are no corrections or additions to the findings?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I would propose the findings of 2, 3, and 5. I think there's a typo where it says 10-foot setback, it should be 100.
Oh, got it. Yep, thank you.
Any other additions or changes to the findings?
If not, Madam Chair,
Yes.
I would like to make a motion to recommend the county board approve the preliminary plat of Gobbler Storage Edition consisting of 12 lots and 2 outlots with the revised findings of facts in the staff report and the 7 conditions in the staff report, along with the certificate of survey and on-site that is submitted in the staff report.
Second.
There's a motion and a second on the floor. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, before we take final action on the preliminary plat request, I need to verify 2 items. You do understand that tonight we are making a recommendation to the county board to approve your preliminary plat request. The county board does have final approval over the request.
Yes,
And you understand that the required conditions placed on the preliminary plat must be completed before applying for the final plat request?
yes,
Okay, we will then proceed with the vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you very much,
thank
sir.
you very much.
County board meeting, July 28th.
July 28th, 9:00 a.m. in this room. That's the county board meeting. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, board.
Are we doing, keep going forward, or does anyone need a 5-minute?
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Our next applicant is James Keepers for a variance request.
Good afternoon.
Good
or
afternoon.
evening, everyone.
That would help.
I am Mike Kippers, representing and my wife Pat, representing our family. My father is James, who owns the property. My mom and dad bought the property in 1998. Dad's 89 years old now, doesn't come up to the property anymore. Pat and I have become the caretakers, and he's fully supportive of what we're asking you today.
Okay, if you just state your names and address then for the record, that would be,
I'm Mike Kippers, 13063 Plot Road, Deerwood.
Pat Kippers, 13063 Plot Road, Deerwood.
thank you very much. Nicolette, can you read the request into the record, please?
Yes, Madam Chair, tonight we have property owner James Kippers with the authorized agent, son Mike Kippers, parcel number 502-90563. Physical address is 13063 Plot Road in Deerwood. This is in Bay Lake Township. The applicant is requesting approval to construct an 88-square-foot addition to an existing screen porch. To allow this project, the applicant is requesting a variance for a lake setback of 42 feet, where 100 feet is required to Portage Lake. This property is located on Portage Lake, a recreational development lake with a 100-foot setback. The property is off Plot Road, just north of State Highway 18. The property is within the shoreline district and is surrounded by shoreline and residential uses. The certificate of survey is on page 404 of your packets. There is an existing screen porch 46 feet from the OHW of Portage Lake. The applicants are proposing to construct a 4-foot addition over the existing garden. Currently, the screen porch is 8 feet in width, and the applicants would extend the screen porch 4 feet closer to the lake for better utilization of the room. Noting some on-site comments from the board on June 30th, surrounding properties have similar structures. The east neighbor is located closer to the lake. Proposal is modest and located over an existing flower bed. A potential condition may include establishing a 5-foot no-mow buffer adjacent to the shoreline. No comments were received from the township, other agencies, or the public. If the board does approve this application tonight, staff would like to recommend the 5 following conditions. 1, a land use permit shall be approved by Land Services prior to construction. 2, implementation of an erosion and sediment control plan. 3, a stormwater management plan according to Article 41. 4, a 10-foot no-mow shoreline buffer must be established on 70% of the shoreline, and it must be established within 1 year of variance approval. 5, an as-built certificate of survey showing all variance requirements, including elevations, be submitted to the county once construction is complete. I can answer any questions.
Did you get the township recommendation? Township recommended approval.
Oh, yes, so I'm sorry, I did say that they didn't, and then the township recommended approval.
Township recommended approval. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for staff? Is there anything that you'd like to add?
No, pretty thorough job. My one just question is, what is this 10-foot, 70% mow that I saw it, but I'm not familiar with what that is.
Madam Chair, so it is a vegetative buffer along the lake, and it helps reduce phosphorus and nutrient loading into the lake. And so our ordinance requires at least 8 inches in height and 10 feet thick from the water starting landward on 70% of the shoreline. So you're still allowed your recreation area of your 30% width. So if you have a 100-foot wide lot, 30 feet is your rec area, and the other 70 is a no maintenance.
Does the riprap count towards that?
It's be behind the riprap.
It would have to be behind the riprap.
Okay, thank you. I just need clarification on that.
Yep.
Other than that, really nothing to add. It's pretty straightforward. We just want to extend the existing porch. The one that's there now needs some repairs, and while we're doing the repairs, we just wanted to do this extension.
Okay, thank you.
Can I ask one more question? If the riprap isn't there, does it start at the water edge then?
Correct.
Yeah, I'll start at the OHW, right, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'll open this up now to public testimony. Is there anyone in the courtroom who would like to address this application? I don't believe I see anyone. Anyone? Double check if there's anyone online, and I don't believe so, so I'll bring it back to the board for further discussion and action.
Madam Chair, the findings of fact we should put up,
Page
please.
411.
And I would propose we amend them to reflect the township recommendation of approval.
Make that addition.
And if there are no other changes, then I would offer a motion to approve the variance for a lake setback of 42 feet where 100 feet is required to the proposed addition, to construct an 88 square foot addition to the screen porch with the subject to the 5 conditions stated in the staff report, the findings of fact as amended, the staff report and the on-site visit, as well as the survey that has been submitted.
I'll second.
There's a motion on the floor and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, before we take final action on the request, I need to verify 4 items with you. Do you understand what is being approved tonight?
Yes.
Do you understand the conditions that are required as part of this approval?
Yes.
Do you understand that you must obtain permits now from Land Services Department before any construction would begin?
Yes.
And you understand that what is being approved tonight is final. Any future changes to what is being approved tonight, such as structure size, height, or location, must be approved by this board. This means that you would be required to submit a new application, pay the appropriate fees, and provide an updated survey and any other required information with the new request. And staff cannot modify or change what has been approved by this board.
Yes.
Okay, we will then proceed with the vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you for
Thank
your
you.
time.
Thanks, everybody, for your time.
Thanks for your patience. Our next applicant would be Bruce Carter and Denise Denardi. And they are online?
Yes.
Okay, can you state your name and address for the record, please?
Bruce Carter, 22332 East Lake Hubert Drive, Brainerd.
And Denise Denardi, 22332 East Lake Hubert Drive, Brainerd.
Thank you. Nicolette, can you please read that request into the record, please?
Yes, Madam Chair, we have property owners Bruce Carter and Denise Denardi, parcel number 733-00579. Physical address is 22332 East Lake Hubert Drive in Brainerd. This is in Lake Edward Township. The applicant is requesting approval to construct a 510 square foot addition to the existing dwelling. To allow this project, the applicant is requesting a variance for a lake setback of 53 feet, where 100 feet is required to Little Hubert Lake. Let's go down to... This property is located on the north side of Little Hubert Lake, a recreational development lake with a 100-foot setback. It's off of East Lake Hubert Drive, which is off of Nashway and Ojibwa Road. And this is actually the city of Nisswa and First Assessment kind of break right here that you see. The survey is on page 420 of your packet. The existing dwelling is currently 18 feet from the OHW of Little Hubert Lake. The applicants are proposing an addition on the north side of the home to include adding bedrooms, bringing the total number of bedrooms in the dwelling to 3. A three-bedroom septic design was submitted and approved for Martin Joyce. The septic design met all setbacks and ordinance requirements. Some of the on-site comments from the board: the surrounding properties include similar structures. A strong stormwater management plan is needed, including gutter installation. A plan is also needed to address erosion at the shoreline. And no comments were received from the township, other agencies, or the public. If the board does approve this application tonight, staff would like to recommend the 4 following conditions. 1, a land use permit be approved prior to construction. 2, implementation of an erosion and settlement control plan. 3, a stormwater management plan according to Article 41. And 4, an as-built certificate of survey once construction is complete be submitted to Land Services. I can answer any questions you might have.
Thank you. Any questions for staff? Is there anything that you would like to add as the applicant?
No, that pretty much spells it out.
Okay, thank you very much. We will then open it up. Is there anyone in the courtroom who would like to address this application? Anyone? Seeing no one, I will double check, and I believe there is no one online, but okay, so it's back to the board for further discussion and action. And the findings of fact are in 431.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
if there are no proposed changes to the findings, then I would offer a motion to approve the variance for a lake setback of 53 feet where 100 feet is required to construct a 510 square foot addition, subject to the 4 conditions stated in the staff report with the findings of fact that we just reviewed. the survey that's in the staff report, as well as the site visit.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor and a second. Is there further discussion?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I'd like to ask John and Rock, condition number 2 talks about the implementation of the erosion and sediment control plan. Would it be okay that in that condition, we also add that it should also include an ice ridge stabilization plan? I mean, it talks about the stormwater plan, but it doesn't mention specifically that stabilization and then ice ridge, and I think that language should be implemented into that condition.
I'm not opposed to it, but I've not heard of an ice ridge stabilization plan. So is it clear what that means? And if the answer is yes, then I'm okay.
My understanding is the intent is to eliminate any erosion that would be
Right.
happening by the shoreline, so.
Okay. I have no objection.
Fine.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, before we take final action, I do need to verify with you as applicants, do you understand what is being approved tonight?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you understand the conditions that are required as part of the approval?
Yes.
Yes.
And do you understand that you must obtain permits now from Land Services Department before construction begins?
Yes.
And do you understand that what is being approved tonight is final? Any future changes to what is being approved tonight, such as structure size, height, or location, must be approved by this board. This means that you would be required to submit a new application, pay the appropriate fees, and provide an updated survey and any other required information with the new request. Staff cannot modify or change what's been approved by this board.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. We will then proceed with the vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next application would be Brandon and Chelsea Hagelin. Hi.
Good evening. Brandon Hagelin, 12231 Lakeview Lane, Merrifield, Minnesota, 56465.
Thank you. Nicolette, can you read the request into the record, please, for the variance?
Yes, Madam Chair, property owners are Brandon and Chelsea Hagelin. Parcel number 821-30508. Physical address is 12231 Lakeview Lane in Merrifield, and this is in Pelican Township. The applicant is requesting approval to construct a 768 square foot detached garage. To allow this project, the applicant is requesting a variance for a property line setback of 3 feet where 10 feet is required, and a variance for a road right-of-way setback of 2 feet where 10 is required. This property is located on Pelican Lake, which is a general development lake, with a 75-foot setback. The property is off of Lakeview Lane, which is west of County Road 3. This property is within the Shoreland District and is surrounded by shoreland and residential uses. The certificate of survey is on page 440 of your packet. This parcel is an existing non-conforming lot with a width of 51 feet. Current standards require newly created parcels on general development lakes to have a minimum lot width of 100 feet. The existing 66-foot wide road right-of-way easement for Lakeview Lane that extends into the applicant's property also ends at the applicant's property. It is a dead end. The landowner to the east did submit a letter stating they were in favor of the request. The applicant also submitted a stormwater management plan, which you can find on page 444 of your packets. The stormwater management plan consists of French drainage systems and rock gardens to accommodate for rainwater, for the structure being 3 feet from the neighboring property line. Noting some on-site comments from the board, there's a strong stormwater management plan effectively directing runoff from the neighboring property. The area contains comparable structures. The lot is narrow and very limited buildable area, and the parcel is located at the end of a dead-end easement. A letter of support, I'm repeating myself now, If the board does approve this application tonight, staff would like to recommend the four following conditions. Number one, a land use permit shall be approved by Land Services prior to construction. 2, implement an erosion and sediment control plan. 3, a stormwater management plan according to Article 44. And 4, an as-built certificate of survey be submitted to Land Services once construction is complete. I can answer any questions.
Questions for staff? Is there anything that you'd like to add?
I have nothing to add. I just want to thank you for your consideration tonight.
Welcome, thank you. Is there anyone in the courtroom who would like to address this application? Anyone? Seeing no one, I'll just double check. I don't believe there's anyone online. So that brings it right back to us for further discussion and action on this variance request.
Can we put findings up, please?
Page 450.
Okay. If there's no corrections or additions, Madam Chair, I would like to make a motion to approve the variance for property line setback of 3 feet where 10 feet is required, road right-of-way setback of 2 feet where 10 feet is required, to construct a 768 square foot detached garage with the 4 conditions listed in the staff report, findings of facts listed in the staff report, the certificate of survey, and on-site report in the staff report.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor and a second. Any further discussion?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I just wanted to ask staff if there's a setback requirement from a drain field.
I didn't hear what you said, Rob.
That is a great question, Rock. Is there a setback to a drain field? There is a setback to an occupied structure. This is an unoccupied garage, so there is no setback.
Okay.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, before I take action, I need to verify 4 items with you. Do you understand what's being approved tonight?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you understand that the conditions that are required as part of the approval?
Yes, ma'am.
You understand that you must obtain permits now from Land Services Department before construction begins?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you understand that what is being approved tonight is final? Any future changes to what is being approved tonight, such as structure size, height, or location, must be approved by this board. This means that you would be required to submit a new application, pay the appropriate fees, and provide an updated survey and any other required information with the new request. Staff cannot modify or change what has been approved by this board.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, hearing that, then we will proceed with the vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Have a good evening, guys.
Yep. Our next application is Marianne Auger. Marianne?
Could I say, Madam Chair, I appreciate that you pronounced her name correctly.
You're more than welcome.
Usually Augie. Marianne O'Shea, 33108 Dangerous Road, Crosby, Minnesota.
Derek Gherkin, 38300 75th Avenue, Sartell, Minnesota.
Thank you. Can you read the request into the record, please?
Yes, Madam Chair. Property owner is Marianne O'Shea. Authorized agent Derek Gherkin. Parcel number 603-50510. Physical address is 33183 Dangers Road in Crosby. And this is in Fairfield Township. The applicant is requesting to upgrade an existing dwelling, adding pressurized water and a septic system to what was a primitive dwelling. To allow this project, the applicant is requesting a variance for a lake setback of 72 feet to the proposed septic tank and a lake setback of 88 feet to the proposed drain field. This property is located on East Ham Lake. Zoom in here. This property is located on East Ham Lake, which is a natural environment lake with a lake setback of 150 feet. The property is off of Dangers Road, which is just east of State Highway 6. The property is within the Shoreland District and is surrounded by shoreland and residential uses. The existing house is an existing non-conforming dwelling that is considered primitive based off of our ordinance, meaning there is no pressurized water or septic system connected to the structure. The applicants are proposing to update the dwelling to add pressurized water and connect a type 1 septic system. Due to the location of the existing structure and Dangers Road, the septic system placement was limited. Jeff Brummer, a licensed septic professional, submitted a septic design for a type 1 septic system with a proposed tank at 72 feet and a drain field at 88 feet from the OHW of East Ham Lake. No comments were received from the township, other agencies, or the public. If the board does approve this application tonight, staff would like to recommend 2 conditions. 1, a land use permit be approved to Land Services prior to construction, and 2, implementation of an erosion and sediment control plan prior to construction activities. I can answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Any questions for staff? Is there anything that you'd like to add?
Oh, I've had that, or I've lived there for 72 years, as old as I am. I was born there. That cabin was old and primitive. People used to stay in it, and then we just used it for storage. And then when the grandkids wanted to fix it up, I'm hoping everything will go good for them.
Thank you. Okay, at this point, we'll open it up for public testimony, and it looks like there might not be anyone in the courtroom who would like to address this application, but I'll just double check. Seeing no one, I'll double check online. And seeing no one there, we'll bring it back to the board for further discussion and action.
Madam Chair, I'd just like to state that when we went out and did the on-site, I mean, they own property across the road, but it's like this. So putting a drain field across the road with the topography there was just no feasible way of doing that. And it's a really small lot, but the buildable part is small. The lot's big because it goes out into the lake, but the buildable area, the upland area is small. So they've done the best they can, and it'd be great improvement to have a type 1 septic system on that property.
Comments, any other discussion or questions from the board? Not, we can entertain action on this request.
The findings, please.
Madam Chair, findings of fact are on 465.
And Madam Chair, if there are no additions or corrections to the findings, I would like to make a motion to approve the variance for lake setback of 72 feet where 150 feet is required, road right-of-way setback of 7 feet where 10 feet is required, to install a new type 1 septic system with the 2 conditions in the staff report, the findings of facts listed in the staff report, and the certificate of survey and on-site report.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, before we take final action on your variance application, I need to verify 4 items with you. Do you understand what is being approved tonight?
Yes.
Do you understand the conditions that are required as part of the approval? Do you understand that you must obtain permits now from Land Services Department before any construction would begin?
Yes.
And do you understand that what is being approved tonight is final? Any future changes to what is being approved tonight, such as structure size, height, or location, must be approved by this board. This means that you would be required to submit a new application, pay the appropriate fees, and provide an updated survey and any other required information with the new request. Staff cannot modify or change what has been approved by this board. Okay. With that, then, we will proceed with the vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you very much for your time and patience.
Thank you all.
I wondered how you knew how to pronounce my name right.
To finally meet you in person.
Our next applicant this evening would be Dale and Kathy Womeldorf. We'll go to the next one then, Pat and Rebecca Parenti. Hi, thanks for your patience.
Oh, thank you. It's been quite interesting.
State your name and address for the record, please.
Patrick Parenti and Rebecca Parenti, 17364 Paradise Shores Drive, Brainerd.
Thank you. Nicolette, can you read the request into the record, please?
Yes, Madam Chair, we have property owners Patrick and Rebecca Parenti, authorized agent Luke Patton, parcel number 760-80526. The physical address is 17364 Paradise Shores Road in Brainerd, and this is in Maple Grove Township. The applicant is requesting to construct a 521 square foot addition to the existing dwelling. And to allow this project, the applicant is requesting a variance for a river setback of 38 feet, where 100 feet is required to Sugar Bush Creek.
Nope, wrong application.
We have no.
Guarantee?
Fast forward one.
Let's start over. Patrick and Rebecca Parenti, they're in Maple Grove Township on Paradise Shores Road. They want to construct a 521 square foot addition and be allowed to have holding tanks for their septic. They are seeking a variance for a lake setback of 74 feet, where 75 is required to the proposed addition, and a type 2 septic system where a type 1 is required. I must have. Bear with me one second. All right, so let's go to page 489 of your packet. So this is on Upper South Long Lake, and we are on Paradise Shores Road, and this is in the Shoreland District and is surrounded by shoreland and residential uses. So going to the certificate of survey on page 495, this is the existing home here on the property that they are wanting to add the addition. The existing home is 50 feet from the OHW, and they are seeking a variance at 74 right here for this proposed addition to the new home, and to have their existing holding tanks. We did receive an email from Martin Joyce, who is a licensed septic professional, who stated that a septic drain field could not be installed on the property due to the soil types, which would need a mound system, and the contours of the property not aligning with what would outline for a mound. He said there's no physical way that a mound could fit onto this property. And so we have the holding tanks. Let's see. Noting some on-site comments from the board, there were a minor request with no significant concerns. There were no comments from the township, other agencies, or the public. And there are five proposed conditions. 5 proposed conditions, one being a land use permit, the second being an erosion control plan, the third being a stormwater management plan, and meeting all items are Article 41. Number 4, a 10-foot no-mow buffer be established on 70% of the shoreline. And 5, an as-built certificate of survey showing all variance requirements, including elevations, being met. I can answer any questions.
Any questions for staff? Do you have anything that you'd like to add?
No, I don't either.
Okay. Seeing no one in the courtroom who would like to address this application, we'll double check. I don't believe there's anyone online, so that brings it right back to the board for further discussion and action. And the findings of fact are on page 501.
Madam Chair, if there's no additions, corrections to the findings or further discussion, then I would offer a motion to approve a variance for a lake setback of 74 feet where 75 is required to proposed addition, and a type 2 septic system where a type 1 is required to construct a 521 square foot addition with holding tanks for a type 2 septic, subject to the 5 conditions stated in the staff report, the findings of fact, the on-site review, and the survey that's been submitted.
I'll second that.
There's a motion on the floor and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, before we take action, I need to verify 4 items with you. Do you understand what is being approved tonight?
We do.
You understand the conditions that are required as part of the approval?
Yes, you do.
And do you understand that you must obtain permits now from the Land Services Department before construction begins?
Yes.
And do you understand that what is being approved tonight is final? Any future changes to what is being approved tonight, such as structure size, height, or location, must be approved by this board. This means that you would be required to submit a new application, pay the appropriate fees, and provide an updated survey and any other required information with the new request. Staff cannot modify or change what has been approved by this board.
Yes.
Okay, we will then proceed with the vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I wanted to point out Stacy was very easy to work with. We're from out of state, and she was right on everything. So.
Oh, that's
Thank you.
That's great to hear.
Madam Chair, we noticed that we don't have the Womeldorfs here, but they don't have to be here for you to take action. So I would recommend to consider their application and take action, and unless, you know, if you decide to deny it, then maybe we'd want to wait till next month, but I don't think that's the intent.
We can go ahead and
I think
move
so.
forward then.
I
So
think we can, yeah.
If you want to read that request into the record, Nicolette, that would
Make
be
sure it's okay with the board,
correct.
yeah.
Everyone okay with that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. For the deck. Property owner is Dale and Kathy Wolmendorf. Parcel number 733-10536. Physical address is 6894 Ojibwa Road in Brainerd, and this is in Lake Edward Township. The request is to construct a 384 square foot deck. And to allow this project, the applicant is requesting a variance for a river setback of 38 feet, where 100 feet is required to Sugar Bush Creek. This property is located on the east side of Round Lake, a general development lake, with a 75-foot setback. And on Sugar Bush Creek, a general development river with a 100-foot setback. The property is off Ojibwa Road, north of the intersection of County Road 127. The property is within the Shoreland District and is surrounded by shoreland and residential uses. The certificate of survey is on page 474 of your packet. The existing house is an existing non-conforming dwelling that was constructed prior to ordinance standards for setbacks to Sugar Bush Creek. The proposed deck would be 122 feet from Round Lake, almost double the required setback. Existing impervious percentage will remain at 20.9%. Noting some comments from the June 30th on-site visit, shorelines were stable and the creek area is well vegetated. Comparable structures exist in the area, and the request is only a minimal deviation from current house setback. No comments were received from the township, other agencies, or the public. If the board does approve this application tonight, staff would like to recommend the 5 following conditions. 1, a land use permit be approved by Land Services. 2, implement erosion and sediment control plan. 3, stormwater management plan according to Article 41. 4, a 10-foot no-maintenance shoreline buffer must be established on 70% of the shoreline. No maintenance buffer must be established within 1 year. And 5, an as-built certificate of survey must be submitted to Land Services once construction is complete. I can answer any questions.
Any questions for staff? And there's nothing to be added by the applicant because they are not present. There is no one in the courtroom for public testimony, nor anyone online, so that would bring us back to the board for further discussion and action on this request. And the findings of fact are on page 483. Up there.
Madam Chair, if there's no more, if there's no corrections or any more discussion, I'd like to make a motion. I'd like to make a motion to approve the variance for a river setback of 38 feet where 100 feet is required to construct a 384 square foot deck with the 5 conditions stated in the staff report, the findings of facts in the staff report, certificate of survey, and on-site report in the staff report.
I'll second.
A motion on the floor and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Matters not on the agenda.
Right, so you got it, Stacy?